The mood around Ibrox feels tense right now, and there is a growing sense that Rangers are approaching a crossroads both on and off the pitch. Behind the scenes, discussions that should have brought clarity are instead creating more uncertainty, especially around the future of one of the club's most promising young players. Contract talks have reached a fragile point, and while nothing is officially decided, the longer the situation drags on, the louder the noise becomes from elsewhere. Interest from clubs outside Scotland is beginning to sharpen, and the uncomfortable reality is that Rangers could be staring at a scenario where a highly rated talent walks away on terms that do not reflect his true value at a time when the club is already navigating a period of change. Every decision carries extra weight, and this one could echo far beyond a single player's future on the pitch. The frustration is just as real. The recent defeat away from home against Hearts was more than just another loss on the fixture list. It was a result that reopened familiar debates about quality, consistency, and whether this Rangers squad truly has what it takes to mount a sustained title challenge. The match itself told a story that supporters have seen too often this season. Rangers started with purpose and control, but lapses in concentration and costly mistakes shifted the momentum in a way that proved decisive. Hearts capitalized clinically, scoring twice before the break and forcing Rangers into a chase that ultimately fell short despite a late response. There has been strong opinion aired about where Rangers stand at this stage of the campaign. The feeling from some former players who know the club well is that the gap at the top is not simply about points on the table, but about overall squad depth and match-winning quality. With a significant portion of the season already played, there is enough evidence in their view to suggest that Rangers are still short in key areas. The argument is not about effort or desire, but about whether there are enough players capable of turning tight games in Rangers' favour when the pressure rises. The defeat to Hearts did little to change that perception, especially when measured against the consistency shown by those setting the pace. And December has arrived with Rangers still trying to find rhythm, and the calendar offers little respite. Consecutive home matches present an opportunity to steady things, but looming on the horizon is another old firm clash that could define the tone of the new year. The margins are already thin, and dropped points now only magnify the challenge ahead. Every performance is being scrutinized, not just for the result, but for signs of progress, cohesion, and belief. Away from the immediate results, the situation surrounding Bailey Rice has become a growing concern among supporters and observers alike. The young midfielder, still only 19 years of age, is edging closer to the final year of his contract, and talks over an extension have not moved as smoothly as the club would have hoped. In modern football, this is a dangerous place to be, particularly when the player in question is widely regarded as one of the brightest prospects to emerge from the system in recent years. The risk of losing him for little or nothing is no longer theoretical. It is a realistic outcome if decisive action is not taken. Clubs south of the border are watching closely, sensing opportunity in the uncertainty. The attraction is obvious. A technically gifted, homegrown midfielder with first-team experience and room to develop is exactly the type of profile that appeals to ambitious sides in England. For Rangers, the concern is not just about losing a player, but about what that loss would represent. Allowing a talent of this caliber to slip away without fair compensation would be a damaging signal during a period when the club is attempting to reset its football strategy. Those with experience at the highest levels of club management have been clear in their assessment. The message is that Rangers cannot afford to be passive. Rice is viewed as someone with the tools to succeed at the top end of Scottish football and potentially beyond. His journey through the academy system, combined with the fact that he has already made history as one of the youngest players to feature for the first team, underlines the level of belief that once surrounded his development. That belief has not disappeared, but it now needs to be backed up with smart, assertive decision-making. There is also an understanding that if Rice's future does lie elsewhere, the move must be handled properly. A rushed exit driven by contract stalemate would benefit nobody at Ibrox. Young players often develop at different speeds, and Scottish football has seen countless examples of talents who flourish later when given the right environment and patience. That context matters because it highlights just how costly it can be to underestimate long-term potential in favor of short-term convenience. The fear among many is that Rangers could be on the verge of undervaluing one of their own. Losing a young asset for a minimal fee, especially when his ceiling is still unknown, would feel like a failure of planning rather than an unavoidable outcome. At a time when clubs are increasingly reliant on developing and trading talent as part of a sustainable model, mistakes like this are magnified. All of this is unfolding while Rangers continue to operate in a transitional phase off the pitch. Senior roles remain in flux, and with leadership changes still to be finalized, responsibility is being shared in ways that are less than ideal. The head coach is expected to play a major role in shaping plans for the upcoming transfer window as the club looks to reshape the squad and address clear weaknesses. That context makes the handling of Rice's situation even more significant because it could act as an early test of whether Rangers are learning from past missteps or repeating familiar patterns. Meanwhile, the reaction to the defeat at Tynecastle continues to rumble on. The analysis from former figures associated with the club has been blunt, particularly when it comes to the goals conceded. The view is that Hearts did not need to be exceptional to win the match because Rangers effectively gifted them the initiative through avoidable errors, set-piece organisation, individual decision-making, and moments of lapse were all highlighted as issues that cannot persist if Rangers hope to close the gap at the top. Despite having a game in hand, the reality of the league table is starting to bite. The distance to the leaders has grown, and the margin for error is shrinking with every passing week. Seeing the added complication of Celtic maintaining their own momentum only sharpens the pressure. An upcoming run of fixtures offers a chance to respond, but there is a clear sense that performances must improve, not just results, if belief is to be restored among the support. As Rangers prepare for crucial matches at Ibrox before the turn of the year, the atmosphere feels loaded with expectation and anxiety. In equal measure, supporters are looking for signs that lessons are being learned, that the team can control games from start to finish, and that the club's decision-makers are capable of protecting its most valuable assets. With so many strands converging at once, from contract negotiations to league form, the next few weeks could go a long way in shaping how this season and perhaps the next chapter of Rangers' rebuild is remembered, because everything now points towards a period where choices made quietly behind closed doors may soon define what happens under the bright lights on match day, as the pressure continues to build and the margin for hesitation grows of ever smaller, while attention turns to what comes next and how Rangers respond when it matters most, and the demands of expectation refuse to ease. As attention remains fixed on results and performances, The wider picture around Rangers continues to demand scrutiny, especially when defeats begin to expose recurring flaws. The loss to Hearts did more than dent confidence. It reinforced the feeling that Rangers are still vulnerable to moments of self-inflicted damage. The opening stages of the match suggested control and intent, but once again, concentration wavered at crucial points. 2 goals before the interval were enough to tilt the contest, and both stemmed from situations that Rangers will look back on with frustration rather than admiration for the opposition. These were not moments of brilliance that could be accepted, but lapses that shifted momentum in an unforgiving league. The reaction from former figures associated with the club reflected that frustration. The assessment was that Hearts did not need to reach extraordinary levels to secure the victory because Rangers handed them opportunities through poor organisation and questionable decisions. Set pieces, in particular, came under the spotlight with defensive positioning and awareness proving costly. When margins are already tight, mistakes like these carry an outsized impact, and they feed into a growing narrative that Rangers struggle to manage key moments under pressure. That narrative becomes even more uncomfortable when viewed through the lens of the league table. The gap to the top has widened, and while games in hand offer mathematical hope, they do little to ease the psychological strain. Rangers are chasing not only points but also belief, and belief is built on performances that show authority and resilience. Right now, those qualities appear in flashes rather than as a constant presence across 90 minutes. The upcoming fixtures at Ibrox take on added significance. In this context, home matches are expected to be a platform for dominance, yet expectation alone does not win games. Rangers need to translate possession into control and control into outcomes, something that has proven inconsistent this season. Supporters are not just looking for victories, they want reassurance that the team is evolving, learning, and capable of sustaining pressure without unraveling when tested. Hovering over all of this is the knowledge that an old firm clash awaits early in the new year. Such matches magnify every strength and weakness, and Rangers know that anything less than their best will be punished. Preparation for that challenge begins now, not just tactically, but mentally. The team must find a way to sharpen focus and eliminate the errors that have repeatedly undermined otherwise promising performances. Off the pitch, the situation surrounding Bailey Rice continues to cast a long shadow. As the season progresses, time becomes an increasingly important factor. Every week that passes without clarity adds leverage to interested clubs and uncertainty to Rangers' position. For a club seeking stability, this is an uncomfortable backdrop. The handling of young talent has long been a sensitive issue, and supporters are acutely aware of past examples where potential was not fully protected or realized. The concern is not rooted in a lack of faith in Rice as a player, but rather in the process that surrounds him. Contract management, development pathways, and communication all play a role in retaining promising individuals. When any one of those elements falters, the consequences can be severe. Rangers are at risk of seeing another homegrown prospect depart without the club benefiting from his peak years or his true market value. This risk is amplified by the broader changes taking place behind the scenes. With key leadership positions in transition, decision-making can become fragmented. While the head coach is expected to exert influence over recruitment and squad planning, there is a sense that a clear, unified strategy is still forming. In such periods, decisive action is essential, yet often harder to achieve. How Rangers navigate this phase will say a great deal about their readiness to modernize and compete sustainably. January looms as a critical juncture. Transfer windows are often framed as opportunities, but they are equally tests of clarity and conviction. Rangers must balance immediate needs with long-term vision, ensuring that short-term fixes do not compromise future stability. The situation with Rice serves as a litmus test in that regard. Retaining him or securing a deal that reflects his potential would signal intent and foresight. Failing to do so would invite criticism and deepen concerns about the club's direction. Back on the pitch, the challenge remains brutally simple, yet difficult to execute. Rangers must start turning performances into consistent results. That requires sharper defending, more composure in key moments, and greater efficiency in the final third. The talent within the squad is not in question, but the collective output has not matched expectations. Bridging that gap is the task facing the coaching staff and players alike. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Whispers around Ibrox are growing louder, and the name doing the rounds is SHEA CHARLES. Nothing has been confirmed, nothing has been denied, but there is a feeling that Rangers may be edging towards a move that could reshape the heart of their midfield. Inside the club, there is quiet talk that the recruitment team see Charles as the kind of player who does more than just fill a position, someone who dictates tempo, controls space, and brings a sense of authority that has been missing at times. Those close to the situation suggest the interest is serious, even if it remains firmly in the realm of speculation. Charles is viewed as a modern midfielder with an old-school edge, comfortable on the ball, but never shy of the physical side of the game. At Rangers, that blend is gold dust. The idea being floated is not simply about adding depth, but about finding a player capable of grabbing matches by the scruff of the neck and bending them to his will. There is also a belief that Ibrox would suit him. The noise, the expectation, the demand to win every second ball, all of it plays into the image Rangers fans have of a dominant midfield general. Some within the game reckon Charles has the intelligence to read danger early and the composure to turn defense into attack in one movement, something that could allow Rangers to control games rather than chase them. Of course, at this stage, it remains talk. Deals like this are never straightforward, and interest does not always turn into action. Still, the rumor refuses to fade. If Rangers are serious about reasserting themselves and stamping authority on the middle of the park, SHEA CHARLES is being spoken of as a statement, not a gamble. Whether that talk turns into reality is another matter, but the speculation alone has supporters daring to imagine a midfield truly under command. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned